Hey, Julia, are my cufflinks in there?
They're in the trunk. You want them?
Oh, no, I can wait. So, I was thinking we're not due in Bologna till the Friday. I don't know how many nights you want to spend in Milan. I'm getting a little worried about all the protests out there.
You worry too much.
I just don't want you to get swept up into all that again. Besides, I think we're more likely to find that renovation project in Modena, Mantua, somewhere a bit more out of the usual tourist circuit, you know? It's all about finding those hidden gems. You know what they say out there at the moment? Conservation is revolution. Yeah, we should stick to the red bricks, not the red brigades. You know, Bologna might be the best place for it after all. It says here that the government's actually giving out grants for renovation work.
Like New Year's.
You just have to let the original tenants return at the same rents. Looks like the locals out there really invested in urban policy. And you're still keen to see Venice, right?
Of course.
You just imagine you on a gondola under the moonlight. Say, where'd you put the Venice guidebook? Oh, don't worry, I found it in my flares. So, I saw this shop selling some vintage rings yesterday, and I thought, well, maybe while we're away, you want to wear one? Just to fit in a bit? You know, with the Catholics and all.
What's that?
I just wondered if it might be easier to let folks think we were married, you know? I read somewhere it might make things a bit smoother for us. It might have been in that Trip to Italy book. I'll see if I can dig it out. Anyway, we could kind of make a game out of it.
I don't think we need to worry about that.
Just a thought. No harm in playing a part, right? Thanks, Jules. Yeah, I got a feeling this trip's going to be something special. Who knows? Maybe we'll find something more than just a church, huh? Hey, Julia. I love you, baby. Everything's going to be okay.
There may, of course, be a public library that's open.
Very strange imagery. Some people have said it almost looks like cannibalistic practices.
I was thinking about going up to the Basilica. I mean, I know it's a couple of hours walk, but maybe a taxi.
If this order has responsibility of bearing away all these unfortunate groups, it's an incredibly small plot.
There's someone there. There's someone there.
In the stained glass window that looks out towards you, a face.
What if it's the devil?
You hear rattling of a chain and potentially a dog barking.
Tonto?
I start creeping very stealthily down the steps. Even in the torchlight, you can see a face that has no nose, no forehead. The Apocalypse Players present Il Portico di San Luca, a Call of Cthulhu scenario by Dan Wheeler, with Dominic Allen as Robert Hyde, retired chemist, Joseph Chance as Nicholas DeVere, theatre critic, perennial guest star Jeany Spark as Sharon Clifford, widowed housewife, and Dan Wheeler as your keeper of arcane lore. Part 7. An Ecumenical Matter. And you see that this man appears to be with this bizarre creature on the end of this chain, patrolling the perimeter of like a little oubliette that you've come into, with doors that lead off in both directions. Well, passageways lead in both directions. But that, with that 4, that is an involuntary reaction, for sure. What's your involuntary reaction? Have you got an idea? If you don't, I'm going to just give you one.
There's nothing I want to do, so you're going to have to give me one, I think.
I think you cannot help but almost like retch audibly with the vileness of what you've just seen.
Yeah.
And as you make that noise, both the man and the creature turn to look at you, and he says again,
Quietity or collide.
I say it as well.
Okay.
Quietity or collide.
And then he says something to you. He looks you up and down, and he has a sort of quizzical look on his face, and he says something to you in Italian. It sounds like a question.
I spit. I just spit and shake my head.
I think I grab Sharon's hand, but I look at her and then I look at him and then I look at her and then I look at him. The non-hammer hand, obviously.
So he moves across the room to you, and this creature hops as it moves on two legs, almost like a kangaroo.
I start walking back up the steps. I start walking back up the steps, and then I start picking up speed as soon as I'm round the corner from him. And as I run past these guys, I go, run, fucking run, fucking run, there's a monster, fucking run. And then I'm running 3 steps at a time, 67 years old.
Okay, cool.
Fucking hell, it's horrible.
And so you're all running up the steps, are you?
As long as I'm faster than either of these two, which I know I'm not. I've seen my movement rate.
I've got Sharon's hand, and I think I look at her imploringly, but I hear the chain and I hear this of a dog. I hear this dog, and I think I begin to let go of her hand, and I just sort of, my long limbs begin to move down the steps.
You have to see it.
I think I have to try to understand what the fuck it is that's drawn me here.
Fuck! You don't want to see it.
I think I have to.
Yeah. Well, as you head down, it and its keeper head up. Sharon, which direction are you going in? Up or down?
Frozen. Absolutely frozen.
Yeah, the midpoint of fear and terror.
Like a rabbit in the headlights.
So Robert, or Sol, is scampering up the stairs, and Nicholas, you push past Sharon and head down, and you are met almost face to face, because you're a few steps above it, this grotesque face, which is, like weirdly almost human, but with no nose and no forehead. Could you give me a sanity roll, please?
1d8. Oh, yes, no, there's, let's go straight to the loss. Let's not go to the loss. Oh, it's a pass. Hilariously, it's a pass. 14 on my 67 sanity.
Wow. Well, I mean, the book actually says no sanity loss, but I'm going to say 1 sanity loss for seeing this.
Yeah. I think that's horrendous.
Yeah, it is. And it growls in your face.
And it is not a dog, is it?
Oh, it's very much not a dog. And the man says again, Quieti! And then he says, Who are you? Why are you here?
Sharon's no help at all. She's absolutely frozen. She's probably pissed herself.
But you still haven't seen it, right? You're just far enough around the corner. You've heard it, but...
I think I say, Sono critico. I'm a critic.
He says, everyone is a critic these days.
And then I run. And I try and grab Sharon's hands as I run. That's my involuntary action. I think...
Fine.
I think I was frozen, and I just said who I am. And then...
Yeah.
No.
So you, all three of you, I think now, I mean, Sharon, I guess, I don't know whether you wait to see this thing or whether you just turn on your heel and run.
I think if he's grabbed my hand, I'm going to go with him. Wherever he's going, I'll go with him.
Okay. So you all run up the stairs, and behind you, you hear this sort of bounding of, like, hooves on stone. But 2 hooves at the same time.
Hop. Like a big bunny.
They go, gush.
Like a bunny of hell.
Gush. Yeah, or like a hoofed kangaroo.
Oh, Christ.
And the chain's rattling, and the man is yelling something, but he's holding this creature on the end of the chain, so it doesn't it doesn't reach you. You're all sort of moving at the same pace.
and you move up and up and up and pile out from behind this picture to be confronted by a small group of the Confraternita.
God. Oh, God.
Stood around this little shrine, waiting for you.
Of course.
I think I should have played it cooler down there.
But once you failed a sound roll, what can you do? That was 4 sanity, man. Yeah. No.
Yeah, it wasn't about madness, though, but I wouldn't stay down there.
No, that was involuntary action, but... No,
Horrible.
No, the run was exactly right. No, it's all...
I don't think we could have talked our way around that one.
Oh no.
This is the perfect horror short story.
Wouldn't want to stay in the vicinity of that thing.
No. Oh no. No, thank you.
What are our chances, Dan, of lay into these motherfuckers? Stiletto trowel and hammer? Do we all fancy our chances?
Well, I tell you, there are 5 of them.
It doesn't look good.
And there is another one behind you with the Orcolat on the end of the chain.
Yeah.
Who, it appears that he has the creature is obeying him.
Yes.
But it looks pretty fierce and enormous to you.
It's followed at the same speed it's followed us, yeah. Comes uphill.
Yeah, and so you bundle out of the painting, and there the 5 of them are stood, gathered at the edge of the metal gate. And then from behind you, you hear this guttural barking sound of this creature as it sort of pulls itself out of this hole that is almost too big to fit through, and then straightens out to its full height, which is about twice the height of the shortest of you. And one of the... unless you want to do anything, by all means jump in, but one of the Brotherhood says, "What are you doing here?" And then he turns to look at Robert and says, "You wear the cape. You have come to join? Or you have been chosen?"
Yeah, that's right. We're joining. We're joining the group.
See.
Sì, è vero.
I'm going to brush up my Italian, like.
And they sort of look at each other, and perhaps I should ask Robert to give me a fast talk roll.
Well...
Or anyone can give me a fast talk roll.
Oh, anyone should.
È vero. Sì. È importante perché sono capito, I understand at last. Sono inglesi, ma penso è vero. Grande vero. That's my version of the fast roll.
Okay, by all means, all give me a fast talk roll.
Well, I failed.
Big fail.
I have rolled a 59 on my 55 fast talk, so I'm going to spend the luck.
Oh, wow. I think that's worth it. Okay, I think with one success from Nicholas, they say, "Okay, quickly into the basilica. We do not have much time."
Oh, right. Okay.
And they lead the way towards the basilica, and I don't know whether you follow.
Hell yeah.
So I'll just get a library card.
And we're sort of surrounded by them at the same time, right? They're not just sort of...
Well, you're kind of trapped by them initially because you are in this sort of, like a little side chapel almost, like shrine area behind the metal gates, and you've got the Orcolat behind you. But once you come out, you're no longer surrounded. It feels like they've maybe taken you at your word. All right, follow us into the basilica, one of you. And they look at Robert again and say, "And it appears you have been chosen, but one of you may be able to help."
Help?
See, follow.
Oh, all right.
Do you follow them into the basilica?
Yes.
I'm going to glance right. Is the taxi still there or left? Whichever one was there. Is the taxi still there? Is it still waiting?
Taxi!
The taxi is sort of just out of sight. if it is still waiting, it's just out of sight.
Is there a chance for Sharon to run? Do I think there's a chance for Sharon to run?
Love the idea the taxi driver's watched all this.
Because I'm movement 5. What's your movement, Robert?
5.
5. We're both movement 5 because we're old. But I'm thinking Sharon isn't movement 5, and to me she is the only light left now. Because I've got some kind of partly human-faced, kangaroo-hopping dog demon fiend behind me, and I figure like I could create some confusion in the last 30 seconds of our lives, and I feel like I want to save Sharon.
Yeah, you could try. It might be that you just sign her death warrant, but
Yep. There's always that chance.
But yeah, I mean,
I think I've been gripping onto her hand this whole time.
I think your fast talk has certainly meant the ones ahead of you have turned their backs. So if Sharon wanted to make a run for where potentially the taxi is, she could.
I think all I do is I say, "Could you run for it?"
Okay, I'm going to do it.
You're going to do it?
And then suddenly she's gone. She lets go of my hand. And actually, none of it is to do with me.
Okay. Sharon, I guess you better give me a dex roll.
Yes. Oh, it's a hard success. 26 on a 75.
A hard success. Okay, hang on. Give me a minute.
God, she's fast. She's really fast. God, you were so dexterous.
Astonishingly, only a regular success from the Orcolat. Oh, Jeany, one more important thing to check. You didn't see the Orcolat as you ran up the stairs. I think you were in the middle.
Yeah.
But did you look over your shoulder when you got back up at the top? And you were surrounded by the brothers.
Yes.
You did, so you have looked behind you.
I think I've seen a horrifying glimpse of what there is there.
Okay, well, I think we better have a retrospective SAN roll then, please.
Oh God. Okay. I've been thinking about this SAN roll. I'm worried. Where are we? Oh yes, I've lost it. 39 on a 69.
Oh, brilliant. Okay. Well, that's lucky. So that is 1 point of sanity that you lose anyway for seeing it.
I mean, fair. Very fair.
I guess you probably glimpse it as it emerges from behind the painting and unfolds itself into its full height, which is about twice the height of a normal human. Like tiny little eyes and this vast sort of toothy mouth. But it's on the end of a chain. It looks a lot like a dog, a dangerous dog, which is currently under control. But yeah, that 1 point of sanity. How many points of sanity have you lost now?
2. Only 2.
Just 2. Okay, fine. I think that is an involuntary action, and maybe that involuntary action is you leaping off the portico and
For sure.
beginning to run. Excellent. Sharon, you're away. You're off the portico. You no longer have your torch, do you?
Do you still have it?
I can't. I thought you gave it. Did you not give it? Did someone take it? No, you still have it. Well, anyway, if you have it, you switch it off or throw it. You're into the darkness.
Yeah.
I think you leap off with that hard success, the ledge of the portico, and down a level, and you're away before the creature even sees where you've gone, and you sort of leg it down the hill to where the taxi is.
Amazing.
Or is it?
Or is it?
Is it?
So you get to where you think it should be, and it's not. But you know the way you came.
Mate, I just keep running. I'm just going to keep going.
Okay. At that moment, the man with the creature on the end of the chain utters something in Italian, and the creature starts sort of sniffing around and barking
and jumps and leaps off the ledge on these powerful 2 hind legs and lands. But then one of the other Brotherhood up front turns, shouts something in Italian, and he stops the creature on the end of the chain, and he turns to you, Robert, and says, "We need it. We need the Orcolat, and we need you."
Okay.
It's more important than her.
Okay.
And I don't know whether you turn back and take one more glimpse at this horrible creature as you run down the hill.
I think absolutely. Once you've seen something that vile, sort of, it's that push-pull, isn't it? Repulsion, attraction. You're desperate to get away, but at the same time, you just really want to check what you've just seen. So I think definitely take a look back.
Yeah. Just as you sort of move over the brow of the hill, you see this shadowy shape jump down off the portico, and you hear it, this sort of barking roar, and then you hear the man pull the chain and yell at it, and it looks like he's hanging onto it. You run down the road.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. And we'll find out. I think we'll find out what happens to you.
Oh God. Okay.
Gunned down by fascists.
For now, she runs down the hill into the night.
Great. Okay.
I think I've pulled out the trowel, by the way, in this moment, and I've whirled round, but then when I see it all resolving, I sort of put the trowel back in my linen jacket.
Yeah.
And pretend.
Okay.
It doesn't really matter.
And the man says, "Not everybody can take the sight of the Orcolat." And then he says, almost with like a wry smile, "And there is a reason we are a brotherhood, after all." And he leads you into the basilica. And the man with the Orcolat follows. And they shut the door firmly behind you, lock it, bolt it. And you find yourself inside like quite a gaudy, baroque basilica. There's like an aisle that leads down to... You look towards where presumably the icon, the Madonna di San Luca, would normally be. And where it normally would be, there's just a piece of plywood sort of tacked up in place of it. And the man who appears to be in charge says, "I do not know what brought you here tonight, but we are short of one to complete our task. It seems not all of the confraternita agree with the decisions we have made this year. Call it ecclesiastical differences, see.
Presumably it will be an ecumenical matter.
You understand very well, Signor.
It nearly always is.
Now, you who wear the cape, it seems you have, for whatever reason, been chosen, but perhaps we tried to teach you both.
What do you mean? Teach us what?
You must learn the words of power.
No.
The spell.
No. Oh no way. I take the cloak off. No way. Not doing. No. Thank you.
And I've pulled the dagger out and I'm backing up and waving it at everyone.
You're not making me do anything. Any weird magic stuff. Okay.
Okay.
I'll take the cloak, and I'll say, I'll vouch for him.
You take up the cloak.
What if I do it for you?
They mutter amongst themselves, and then he says, "You are good with the blade, Signor. See?"
Me?
Yes.
Well,
He looks at the knife in your hand.
I can kill someone if that's what you mean. Well, nothing magic about it.
No, that will not be necessary, but perhaps your role is a different one.
He's very skilled. Very skilled. Ruthless.
I'm not having anything to do with no magic.
All right.
I can't do it.
All right, I understand. I hope your friend is a quick learner, is all I say. And he looks at the clock and sees that, there's only, you don't know whether this is of any significance, but only a few hours till midnight. And he says, "It is almost time for the feast." And he says, come close, come close.
See.
And he brings you toward him.
God.
And,
oh, God.
And says, "Repeat after me." And then he makes the most extraordinary sounds. You guess they must be words. He speaks for about a minute.
Oh, my God.
And then he says, "It's too much. I break it down." And he starts breaking this extraordinary incantation down into component parts, into maybe 5 seconds at a time. And it's not like a language you've ever heard.
No.
I think maybe at one point you suggest that he could write it down and you could study it phonetically, and he says it's not possible. And you kind of believe him because the sounds he's making don't really marry up with any of the phonetics that you're used to.
Yeah.
Could you roll me a D8 to see how long it takes you to master this spell?
Obviously, I do have acting. Which I can't help but think might...
Okay, well, here you go. Give me an acting roll. If you succeed on your acting, I'll give you a bonus die for your...
You do that whole thing where you just do blind copy with no understand.
Yeah, give me an acting roll first.
Not that anyone would ever condone that amongst actors, of course. It would be absolutely sacrilegious.
Well, some directors think that's a rehearsal technique.
Acting, let's see how the acting roll goes. It all comes down to this. It's a 15, Dan.
That's a success, is it?
It's a hard success.
Fantastic.
My 33 and a half.
So in that case, I will let you roll me a D4 instead of a D8.
D4. I said it all comes down to this. Obviously, it all comes down to this because we've got 2 hours, right? So it has to be a 1 or a 2, does it? I'm assuming that, but...
Well, I haven't said how long you've got. I've just said a matter of hours.
It's a 4, Dan.
It's a 4.
I'm gutted.
So at some point, the man turns away from you and says, "It's taking too long. Signor, you must try." He says to Robert, "You must, please, you must try."
I can't. I'm not doing any magic. I can't do it.
I'm going to roll my persuade.
It's not even that. I've got a phobia.
Maybe I'll roll a psychology?
Intimidate.
Psychoanalysis.
Oh, that's not really much good, is it?
There's nothing I can do to my D4s then, no. Can't spend any luck.
We'll see.
What if I roll a sanity roll to see if I can tolerate it?
Oh, yeah, great idea. Yeah.
Let's see how I'm like, all right. Well, if it's just singing, then fine. But as soon as I get started, I'm like, this is weird.
Yeah.
You know why it didn't work? It's because I was imitating. I wasn't truly inhabiting. That's why it's taking so long.
How have you got on with your sanity roll?
Well, I failed, surprisingly. 48 on a 22.
In that case, I think I'm going to say you lose a point of sanity for even attempting this, because it's so anathema.
That drives me definitely insane, by the way.
Oh, wow. Okay, great.
Of course it does, yes, because that was the one last point.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see what variety of indefinitely insane you get. It's all kicking off. So there's an automatic bout at this point.
I think I've been chanting for a while, probably before it starts to sink in. So I've been doing it for a bit. I've started sweating. I've started to dissociate. My hands are clammy. Tinnitus. I start to feel sick. I keep looking over. That thing is still there. It can't be real. And yet it is. The thing that should not be.
So as you start trying to say this spell, it does something to your brain, and you try to say the words and you stop. You find yourself like choking on them, and you turn to the one of the Brotherhood, not the one who was trying to teach you, the other one of the other ones, and he says, "All right, so you recognise me, do you?"
Kevin?
"That's right." Bet you thought you'd never see my face again.
Yeah, I thought you got on the wrong side of the craze. I thought they'd done you in.
Yeah, no, you thought you'd done away with me, didn't you?
What do you mean? I always had your back.
Oh, yeah, that's what you wanted me to believe, Sol, but...
Hey, it's not my fault if you got on the wrong side of Reggie. You know Reggie's nuts.
Sure, yeah.
Reggie's crazy.
Yeah, he is. What's your excuse?
I'm not crazy.
No?
No,
Why are you talking to a dead man, then?
You what?
Why are you talking to a dead man, I said, Sol.
You've got a point there, haven't you?
Yeah.
Kev, you got a point there, because how did you die in the end? What they do in the end, was it?
Why do you think you can pull the wool over my eyes?
I'm not pulling the wool over anyone's eyes.
I know it was you, Sol. But you'll be joining me soon, won't you? That's the thing about being dead. You can see things what live people can't. And he starts looking at your body, and he says, I can see it eating away at you inside, running through your veins. That disease.
Yeah, well,
you ain't got long left, do you, Sol?
I've had long enough.
Yeah, well, maybe I can pay you back when I see you on the other side. What about that?
Well, it'll be too late by then, Kev. This isn't your poison, is it? But you got some of mine. And I don't regret a thing.
Yeah.
You's a dirty bastard. You deserve everything you fucking got.
Well, one way or another, poison could be the end of both of us, innit?
Yeah, well, maybe it will. Maybe it will.
Right, well, have a lovely evening, mate. Hope it's not too, weird. And then he turns away, and he turns back. And it's the monk again, the brother again, but he sort of smiles at you like, maybe it's not, maybe it's still Kev. I shout very loudly all of a sudden. I just go, you're a dirty, murdering, fucking cheating bastard. You got everything you fucking deserve, you dead cunt. Okay, shush, quiet now, quiet. He cannot take it. It is too much for some minds. And a couple of them take you and sit you down on a pew. Get your fucking hands off of me! And they back away from you. The craze sent you, did they? They've had enough of me now, have they? Yeah, fuck them. I think maybe 4 of them now grab you and try and hold you down on the bench and calm you down. Let's just see how long this bout is going to last. Oh, it's going to last quite a while. In that case, I try and nut one of them.
Quite right, too.
Okay. Give me a dex roll. No. Big old fail. And I've got a hard success. So, between the 4 of them, they incapacitate you and they hold you down. But as a result, you have to sort of sit there and watch what happens, which is that Nicholas continues learning the spell. Jeany, Sharon, you've been running for some time now. Should we say maybe 20 minutes?
I mean, it feels like an eternity.
It probably does. Do you want to give me a constitution roll to see whether you keep going or whether you need to pause for a little breather?
Absolutely. Okay, I think I've absolutely bossed it. Yes, 15 on a 50. Wow, Sharon is fit.
Oh, amazing. Does she go out jogging regularly, perhaps?
Well, do you know what I mean? Like, she's a housewife, which I think is one of the most underrated non-Olympic sporting events in the world, particularly in the 70s. There'd be a lot of manual labour involved in cleaning a house and, washing and all of that, carrying all the shopping. Yeah, hefting that enormous heavy vacuum cleaner up and down the stairs. Yeah. She's quite strong. Okay, brilliant. Well, okay, so you're away, and as you make your way down the road that kind of runs parallel to the Portico. It's the same road that you drove up in the car, but it's dark now. I think it's taken you, an hour or so, sort of exploring around the basilica and now heading back down. So it's dark, and you can see as you run. You get to a point where you can see the town below you, all lit up, and even from this distance, you can see the crowds gathering in the main square, or sort of towards the roads that lead up to where you are. Mm-hmm. You carry on running? Yeah, I think so. I think at this point, all that's in her mind is just get back to safety, get back to where she's staying, get back to her stuff.
Sure. Right. Okay.
So just keep running like a mad woman who's probably throwing up a bit on herself out of sheer fear.
Okay.
Into the crowd, like the beginning of a terrible carnival.
Yeah. Okay. Well, so you're not quite there yet, but we'll come back to you in a minute. Joseph.
Can I try something? I don't know if it's going to work, but I think in my desperation, realizing that things are progressing, especially when they say, we'll have to try it with your friend, I think unless my hands are involved in some kind of aspect of it,
No.
I would try and take out this amulet, this dog-headed amulet that I have, figurine,
Okay.
and I would take the trowel and I would stab my palms in a stigmata, and then I would grab the dog-headed symbol,
Okay.
and then I would attempt using the blood dripping out of my hands around this thing.
Okay. Great.
I would attempt.
They look at you strangely, but they sort of have respect for your strange rituals, and you can roll that d4 again for me if you like.
I could. And do you want some hit points for that? Not that it matters, clearly.
I mean, how deep have you gone?
I mean, I've stabbed my. I mean, I don't know.
Okay, yeah, maybe take a hit point. 1 hit point.
Yeah. Just one hit point. It's a 1 on my d4.
It's a 1. Amazing. So from going from him thinking that you were never going to make it, after this, I think it focuses your mind, the pain, and you're reciting it pretty fluently. And then he says, good, you have it. Now, we all practice together. We have to time it correctly. And they all sort of stand in a circle and breathe in and then sort of speak the words at the same time. He says, good. You await the sign. And then, when the time comes, you place your hand on the symbol. You will know it and say the words. Oh, and of course, you must take this. And he gives you a strip of fabric.
Which I take. I look nervously at Robert.
And then he says, for your eyes, see? For your eyes.
I look really nervously at Robert. And I think it's the last vestiges of my sanity. And I just look at Robert's eyes. And I just nod.
My eyes are wide and bloodshot, and I'm sweating and chewing my own face like I'm coming down off a coke binge.
And he looks at the clock, and it's sort of 5 minutes to midnight.
Yeah.
And he says, it is time. Go. And you set off out of the basilica, I presume, in the company of 5 other members of the Brotherhood. Oh no, forgive me. So you and 4 head down.
I am the 5th.
Yeah, you are the 5th. But they've had to release Robert in order to do it. And they lead you back down the steps into the shrine, leaving the man and the Orkalat and the man who is apparently in charge. So, Robert, you've been sort of released. I don't know whether you're still struggling or... Well, you're certainly still under the impression that one of the brothers is your old pal Kev. But your mania, your bout of madness is not a violent one. It's just this
Delusion
that one of your significant people is amongst the Brotherhood. So the head of the fraternity says to you, how are you feeling? Will you wield the knife? We must draw a cup of the Orkolat's blood.
I can do that. That doesn't sound like magic to me. That just sounds like business.
All right. So he takes this golden cup and holds it under the arm of this creature. And the man who is holding it sort of puts his hand on like the top of his head where the forehead would be, but there is no forehead. And he's somehow brought it to its knees. And he's sort of looking at it dead in the eyes. And he says, "Now."
Sorry, old China. And I cut him.
So you cut the arm, and this thick, black, oozing substance begins to sort of trickle into this gold cup.
Mm.
And then when it's nearly full, the man places it on the floor, and he sort of binds the arm of the Orcolat, and you see that the arm is sort of riddled with these vertical lines, as if this has happened many, many times before.
Mm.
And he says, "Now, you go with me." And he leads you through the body of the church, and he peels away the plywood where the icon was, and steps through, and says, "You do not have to come if you do not want to. You can wait here."
No, I'll come.
Very good. And so he sort of leads you down these steps. Another spiral staircase similar to the ones that led you into the oubliette, except these, they sort of open out over a hole in the floor. And there's various chains hanging down, and you look down through this hole, and I'll tell you what you see in a moment, because it's the same thing as Nicholas is about to see.
Well, just down below.
Nicholas, as you're led down these spiral staircase, the spiral staircase you went down once before, you're now wearing the cape, correct?
Yeah, oh yes.
Yeah.
And my two-towel scarf, my cravat.
Yes. And you see the brothers wipe their hands along the walls and sort of smear their faces as they head down with the grime that covers the walls, this dust and slime and moss.
I'll put my hand out and see what my hand gathers.
It's
gross.
Pretty gross, but it's like it's dirt and moss. It's nothing any more gross than that.
I'll do the same then.
Could you give me a listen roll, please?
Oh yes. Oh, I'd love to. That's a 40 on my 50. Listen.
Okay. Just a regular listen. I would say just with a regular listen, you can't hear anything at this point.
Is it worth me pushing this?
No, I don't think so.
It's more of a passive.
It's more of a passive, yeah. Just to see if you're aware of what's coming.
I mean, there's the smearing. That's blocking my hearing slightly, I think, and then there's the whole footsteps, although I think we're being quite quiet, aren't we?
Yeah, I think you are. I think you can hear this sort of slow breathing of you and four others as you descend the stairs, and the soft padded footsteps on the stone stairs as you descend this staircase. And I mean, what's different, I suppose, what you can hear is that last time you came down these stairs, you could hear the snorting and barking of the Orcolat, and it's no longer here.
A relief.
Anyway, you reach the bottom of a relief. Yeah, you reach the bottom of these stairs, and you're back in the. I don't know whether you ever entered the sort of oubliette at the bottom. You didn't really. You met the Orcolat right at the threshold, didn't you?
That's right.
So you emerge out into this very bare stone, sort of circular space. The staircase comes down on one side, and then to your left and to your right there is a sort of doorway or an archway, and then it comes up to a sort of point in the middle, and it's very bare and rustic. And the monks turn and move to the right towards the archway. And one of them lifts his finger and points to the keystone, if you like, above the archway, where you see a symbol carved there. And he says, "Your hand there."
I start to raise my hand, looking at him as if is this the right thing to do? Just become a cultist now, Dom.
Not now. When the time comes.
When the time comes.
See, you watch for the sign. This is my gate, my doorway. Yours is through there.
Gosh.
And he hangs back by this gate, and the other three file through this archway into the room beyond. And do you follow?
Yeah, although in the League of Gentlemen version of this, I would then say, why can't I have this one and you go to that? I like this one, but I don't say that. I think in my mind's eye, I sort of want to be quite British about it and say, I don't really want to cross that strange, awful, ancient place. But I of course, do as I'm told instead, because I'm very British.
And in that version, he says, trust me, you do not want this one.
You don't want this one? Okay.
This is the busiest one.
Busy. I think we may have the translation wrong there.
Maybe. So they file through into the room beyond, which is a much larger cavern.
Oh dear.
And as you enter, I'll describe the scene that is before you. You come through an arch that's sort of at the top of some stairs that lead down into... It's a cavern that is sort of almost spherical in shape, as in the stairs lead down to the lowest point at the bottom. And then the walls curve upwards towards a sort of, not quite a point at the top. So it's like a sphere or an egg shape, really. Looks... Have you seen any of those pictures of those... Oh, you might even have been there. Those sort of extraordinary stepwells in India.
Oh, I know I think I know the kind of thing you mean.
So it's almost got a flavour of that to it, that the stairs lead down to perhaps a well in the centre, and indeed in the centre of the room there is this circular hole.
Ooh.
It's not like a well, it's just a hole in the floor. And then there are 4 doors, 4 other gateways that lead off from this space.
There's a flashed memory of a dreadful production of The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe, in which the central trap failed, and both children and animals fell into it. It crosses my mind that I saw some 10 years back. Actually, Dan Wheeler was one of the actors in it. He was one of the few...
Was it Dan Wheeler or was it Oliver Courtney de Quincey?
Oh, it was Oliver Courtney de Quincey. I can't tell which one's which anymore. Yeah. De Quincey's performance as Aslan, unforgettable.
Yes. So this is the shape of the room. Yeah, it's a bit like a stepwell, or a bit like maybe some sort of underground cistern. It's quite hard to tell what the purpose of this room would be.
Terrifying.
Yeah. But the thing that immediately catches your attention is what is hanging on the end of these chains that are suspended from the ceiling. And there are maybe half a dozen, maybe 10 chains, and on the end of each is a corpse. Are corpses in various stages of putrefaction. Some of them are so old and decrepit, rotted, to not even be recognizable as human corpses, except that you can see the others in the sequence. Some of them are pretty long dead, but recognizable as humans. Others are much more recent, you think. Perhaps only... Well, maybe give me... do you have any medicine skills or anything?
Oh, gosh. Not really. I've got...
Or any biology?
Didn't Sharon have biology? Not helpful now.
That crosses your mind. Sharon would be the one to...
Yes, didn't she mention something about understanding the human biological system? No, I've got no scientific skills.
Well, I think you can just tell that they are various different stages of rottenness. It's immediately obvious to you, or your first thought upon looking at this scene, is that this appears to be almost like an array of cured meats of different types. It is like a A dish of antipasti. For something, someone.
Of course it is, and it's hanging over this aperture below, this well.
And there is one that looks like probably a very fresh corpse that you can see from where you are. It's quite close to you. There's a bullet hole right through the forehead.
Ah, the missing victim.
Perhaps. And then on the end of the last chain, not hanging by a butcher's hook, but tied with ropes, is Julia.
Oh, God. I think there's a moment there where, looking at that, and with the antipasti image, I do definitely... My first thought is definitely the food, which is interesting because, of course, it also slightly reminds me of avant-garde theatre and some of the stuff I've been watching recently, the Royal Court, and definitely a little bit of some of the more kind of fringe stuff. This sort of contorted bodies held in painful positions, some suspended by ropes. The bound nature of the decade seems to sort of ring in me in that moment. And I realise that I'm watching the show of my lifetime. I'm watching the ultimate performance that a critic could ever observe. And the dream of all dreams, it's interactive. Help! Help! And I have a vision of the future where I see how audiences will be led into spaces like this, where they can observe, but they're both passive and terrified, and they don't know what their agency is, but they also don't know how to get past the fact that they want to be active, but they don't really want to be active. So there's this frozen aspect to themselves. And I have this vision of the future of theatre in that moment that reaches an enlightened state of a sanity roll.